CAP, Christians Against Poverty, to be able to run their CAP money course, which is a budgeting course and is useful for a whole range of people, for people who are really struggling, for people who would maybe like to be able to do Christmas without getting into debt, for people who'd like to just have a bit more cash on hand to perhaps give to other people. It's a real wide-ranging course, which is a lot about budgeting your money and methods of dealing with money that just helps you to be in control of it. So my plan was that I would be starting a course in a couple of weeks' time, but now I've broken my arm, I'm not really feeling quite up to that. So I'll be doing a course in the autumn. So if you're interested in the meantime, feel free to speak to me, but I will give out dates properly once we kind of finish the summer break. So because of that, we were going to have a launch for the Christians Against Poverty with a speaker to come and tell us all about it and the different things that CAP do. They don't just do these management courses, they do lots of other things as well. So we decided we'd go ahead with the launch anyway, because it's taken a while to sort out. So we've got Colin and Jenny here from Chichester. For those of you who like local connections, the drummer that Rebecca plays with, Caleb, it's his uncle who's speaking. So, and they're from the Baptist Church in Chichester. So, welcome to Colin and Jenny.
Right, I need to put something down somewhere. I'll put it here. Do I need a microphone?
Yeah, just use that one. You can use that.
Oh, there. There, this one? That
Yeah, that one.
one? Okay,
Feel
brilliant.
free to use it.
Yeah. Okay, lovely. Disrupt all your music and all that sort of thing, that's great.
That's all right.
Yeah, okay. Lovely, brilliant.
Or you can have a handheld.
Oh, that probably whip it off or something. Great, so it's fantastic to be here. Thank you ever so much. Well, thank you Tony, thank you Sally, and thanks Susan, and was it your daughter that gave you coffee this morning, Rebecca?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Who, oh,
Yeah,
your daughter?
it was me.
Susan's
Susan. Right, okay, great. Well, that's brilliant, thank you. And thank you who did the coffee. It was a good cup of coffee as well, so that's great. Listen, this is fantastic to be here. Really sorry that Susan's broken her arm. I mean, that's, what a thing to do just before the summer holidays. Anyway, we came on Friday because, as you heard, I'm Caleb's uncle, and so we came over to stay with them, and we came past. We thought we'll go to Newport, and we came past. Oh, there it is! It is on the roundabout. So anyway, we parked up there, and we popped back down just to have a little look. And it was quite interesting, really, because we had a food bank on, and Jenny saw a cafe open, and she said, "Oh, we're going there for lunch." And I said, No, this is the food bank. It's the cake and the coffee for the people that go to the food bank. So we probably could have come in, but we thought, well, no, we won't really do that. But it was great to see that you've already got that connection. We have a food bank in Manchester as well, which is great. And it's the family church that run that. And we run the debt centre. And it is fantastic that we can work together to get together as different churches. But there is a great connection between food bank, because obviously if you need the food bank, then you've got a problem with money, whether it's because you're short of it or because you're not using it properly or whatever. And the budgeting course is just brilliant. So it's brilliant for anybody, whether you're earning 100,000 a year or whether it's a few £100. And it really is a great course. We'll come to that in a minute. Anyway, thank you for that. That's great. So I have been working with Christians Against Poverty for just over 4 years. And I started off in my life as, well, most of my life I was working in the health service. And then eventually I was made redundant and started my own business. And during that time I was one of the deacons of our local church. And what was amazing was that we were looking for other things to do in the community, and CAP was one of them. And so 5 of us went off to Bradford to the church partnership day, and I just came away thinking that is what God wants me to do. That is just fits perfectly. And a year later, because we're a Baptist church, a year later I actually started, I've been trained and started, and it was absolutely amazing. So now 4 years on, we've seen just around about 200 mark of families in the Chichester area. People think Chichester, debt. There is a lot of debt there, there's a lot of poverty, incredible. So we've seen 200 families, we've seen 49 families get out of that debt. That's fantastic in 4 years, it's brilliant. The transformation in people's lives is just amazing. And also during that time, we've seen 25 people come to know the Lord. It's amazing work. I'm really pleased that God called me to it. I love working in the health service, but this is so much more fulfilling. I don't actually like the work that I do because it means that people are suffering. But because of what I do, then I can help those people out of that suffering a bit. And that's the bit I like. So you obviously already have God's love at the heart of your work here. You can see that. And that's what we do in CAP. We just reflect God's love. We want to see people's lives changed just by showing Him His love. One of the things that we do when we first go into somebody's home, they invite us in, we go in, and within 5 minutes we're saying to them that, the reason we're here is because God loves you. And this is really what we're providing, this free service to you, is a practical demonstration of His love. And then as the weeks and the months go by, and we continue supporting them and helping them, some of them just sort of respond and come to a service, or might just have a chat or whatever, and it's great just to see how God then transforms their lives. So, you're already involved with this through the food bank, and I'm sure other things as well, but that is amazing. It does make such a difference. CAP itself is a miracle. I don't know how much you know about CAP, and maybe Susan's the only one that's sort of had the...
I wouldn't imagine people generally know very
No?
much.
Okay, right. Well, I'll tell you then. Well, the charity is a charity founded in 1996 by John Kirkby, who was working in the financial industry at the time, and he got into financial difficulties himself. His relationship broke down. He was looking after his 2 girls in a very run-down place, and he was invited along to a church barbecue, and he eventually became a Christian, and from that he then was asked to set up this charity, Christians Against Poverty. 1996, he had a heart for the poor, he had a faith in God, he loved the church, and now, 17 years later, CAP have got 230 thereabout centres around this country working with people that are struggling with debt. We also recently have worked through a new thing called CAP Job Centres, and there are 33 churches working in that way at the moment. And we also have, and you're one of these, 1,300 CAP Money education churches. I tell you, it's great in a way that Susan has broken her arm. Absolutely fantastic. Because she doesn't think so. No, but really, it's probably quite a difficult time of the year to set up a CAP Money course with people going on holiday and everybody being busy because people are coming onto the island and all that sort of thing. So in the autumn, when she starts, it'll go with a bang because it's a really needed course. Everybody needs it, whoever you are. I've been to places to talk where they've been running CAP Money courses, and people have said, "Oh well, I did that 18 months ago, and it's made such a difference to me." I mean, I'm not saying that many of this will happen very often, but this one guy said to me once, he said, "Oh yeah, he said, I did the course 18 months ago." He said, "Saved £3,000 since because of that course." Oh right, okay, fine. I'd like to have £3,000. But anyway, that was great. But just the way he structured his money, the way he spent it, the way he worked with it, the accounts that he set up and so on, made that big difference. So it's a really valuable work that Susan's doing, and I really would encourage you to join her and support her in all that she does. So all of these things based in local churches. Bradford is the centre where the expertise is in terms of the deaf and so on, and the organisation and the structures. But you as a local church are the face that people in your community see. And just so as you know, we also have CAP centres in Australia, New Zealand and Canada, and CAP Money runs there as well. So today, I want to do three things really. Firstly, just tell you a bit about CAP. I told you a bit about the history, our values and vision. I want to talk to you about CAP Money churches so that you have a better understanding of what that means for you as a church. Briefly talk about job clubs and also, of course, debt centres and the impact that can have on your church and your community. It's great, I think, Susan, you're already working with Sandown, who has a debt centre, and that's tremendous. It's a smallish island, but if you all work together, it's really great. And the last thing I want to do is just to give you the opportunity to get involved in some way or another. Maybe, people are calling this a movement of God. I mean, it really is incredible when you think 17 years ago there wasn't anything, and now suddenly there's 230 churches around the place working with local communities, and 1,300 churches working with budgeting courses. So I want to be able to give you the opportunity of providing some support. Practically, you can sign up to be part of the prayer team, which would be absolutely fantastic, and also where you're able to make a regular monthly donation for the work of CAP. But first, let's have a looking, if you can put up the reading of Matthew 25:31, just to remind ourselves of what God's heart is for the poor. And really, it's the mandate that we've been given. I've got my Bible here. I'm just going to pop down and get it. Well, we've got to finish by 1 o'clock, is that right? Okay, so it's Matthew 25, verse 31. When the Son of Man comes in his glory and all the angels with him, he will sit on his throne in heavenly glory. All the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate the people one from another, as a shepherd separates the sheep. He will put the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. And then the King will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I, as Jesus, was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you invited me in. I needed clothes and you clothed me. I was sick and you looked after me. I was in prison and you came to visit me." Then the righteous will answer him, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you?" And the King will reply, "I tell you the truth. Whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers of mine, you did for me." So it's a great mandate that Jesus has left us to help and work with those who are poor and needy. Excuse me a minute, just right. So each and every one of us that knows Jesus as their Lord and Saviour is able to reflect that love of God to other people in the way that we deal and work and help those in need. And this is exactly what CAP does through job centres, through the money course and through debt centres. For I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. Recent survey of thousands of clients showed that 2 out of 3 had missed meals. Obviously I've got about 60 people at the moment that we're working with, 60 families. And one of the ladies that recently visited, I said to her, "Well, what's in your fridge?" And she took me into the kitchen And she opened the fridge, and there was the carcass of a chicken, and there was a smidgen of Marge. And she said, that chicken has lasted me 2 weeks. She said, I got it cheap at Tesco's or somewhere. Like one of these, you have these sale things. So it must have been quite near the end of the sell-by date, but it lasted her 2 weeks. And so it was great because I was able to take in a food box from the food bank, and she was just absolutely amazed. Later on, she went on what we call a discovery break, which is a short break for cat clients, which gave her half the law. So that's great. We never ever go away and leave somebody hungry. We always go in and help them with that. I was a stranger and you invited me in. I was in prison and you came to visit me. Now from that same survey, 8 out of 10 people lived in fear. This whole idea of being in debt is so isolating, can be so devastating. People living behind closed doors. It's like being in prison. The phone rings, people take the phone out of the wall because they get 40, 50 phone calls a day. The mail comes through the letterbox. Mostly it gets left because they know what it contains inside. Red letters threatening bailiffs, threatening this, threatening that. They so often become ashamed. They feel that there's no one there to support them. But we don't judge them. They're in that situation and we go in and we help them. Help them to establish friendships through the church. Often that's the way in. I was saying to Susan earlier, I think, or Sally, I can't remember who it was now, about the fact that at our church we have a thing once a month called Breakfast at West, which is a local pub that doesn't do hardly any business on a Sunday morning, so we go in at 11 o'clock. Our main service carries on meeting, but a group of others go in and say, right, well, are the people that we can take with us to breakfast and buy them breakfast? And so I've taken clients to have breakfast there. You sit down, you have breakfast, we have a discussion idea, so you've got a theme to look at and discuss. And you just never know how you're going to lead them on to become a Christian in the days to come. I was ill and you looked after me. 4 out of 5 people have visited their GPs with stress-related issues, and of course debt creates stress. Half of those people were prescribed medication, but CAP can take that worry away. It's amazing, we go in and say often there's a pile of unopened post, and we just say, well, look, okay, just let's have it, we'll take it away, we'll deal with it. We make a note of all of the debts and so on and so forth, and we then go back the following week with a budget for them. And that, so often people said to me as we go out the door after that first visit, oh, I feel so much better now. It feels like the load has been taken off my mind, because all that stuff there, that paper, which I didn't really know what it contained, I just knew it was bad news, it's gone. And I know it's going to be dealt with. So yeah, that's what we do. We take away the worry and the burden of debt, and that gives them hope for the future. So like you, we believe that we can't just sit back and be passive, but together we can all do something. So through our debt centres, money education work and job clubs, we'll meet the needs, practical needs of 21st century UK. That's what Matthew 25 is all about. Not as bad as dropping your guitar.
Not as bad as dropping your dad's guitar.
Oh, right. No. Sorry. Perhaps it is what it is. That's not anything to do with it. Okay, so just want to tell you briefly a bit more about debt centres, about Pat Money and job clubs. Debt centres, I just go on about this, but I'll try to restrain myself. Because, what time do you try to aim to finish, by the way? 10 10 past. Okay, yeah, we should be able to manage that. So, demonstrating God's love through Matthew 25, through running those debt centres. Say, people, you've got the leaflets over there, you phone the number. It's a free phone number, unless you've got a mobile, in which case there is another number you can use. We go and visit somebody. We usually go with, I go with a volunteer, and we'll help them out with that. We look at their debts, we look at their income, we look at their expenditure, build them a budget. Then we, head office, do all the hard work. They go off and talk to the creditors, negotiate the debts, negotiate stopping interest and charges. Can't guarantee it, but we do in most cases. Through the CAP account, those wonderful people are then able, with one payment a week or a month, depending on their income, start to pay off their debts. So they make that one payment, and then we distribute it out to the various creditors. Each month we see nearly £3 million of debt reduced. It's a lot of debt, isn't it? £3 million a month. It's all because people are following that programme and starting to pay back that money. 2012 we saw over 1,600 families going debt-free across the nation. That's about 6 every working day. Absolutely amazing. And since we've been going, 5,000 people have come to know the Lord. And last year alone, there was 500 people came to Christ. So our debt centres really empower the local church to play its part in helping people come to know Jesus. I've got some Plan A leaflets which Jenny will pass around to you. Just really gives you an idea of what CAP is. Take those away with you, that'd be great. CAP Money, this has been developed as the education course. It's been developed over a period of years, and as Susan said, it's really aimed for anybody who's got money coming into the household, really. Whatever your situation. If you think you're good at money, then you need to go to the CAP Money course, because your ideas of how good you are running or managing your money will help others, which is fantastic. If you're absolutely no use at it, then that's fine, because you'll go along anyway and you'll get some help to get better. And if you're mediocre, you're still going to learn something, because every time I go to run a CAP Money course, I learn so much from the delegates. It's absolutely fantastic. So, more and more my knowledge is getting bigger and bigger all the time about how to save money. It's great. So, recommend definitely as something that you do. Well, we've been running these since 2008, and it is a revolutionary management course. It's only 3 weeks. Teaches you budgeting skills. It's simple. It's cash-based. Listen to that, cash-based. So nice to actually hand over money rather than a bit of plastic. And a bit of plastic then just sort of think, oh, well, that's good, okay, I'll just use that. Whereas if you've got the cash in your pocket, if you haven't got it there, you can't spend it. So that's great. But anyway, Susan will tell you all about that later in the autumn. Brilliant. 61% it says, in a society, 61% of the people feel financially insecure. So this is a great opportunity for you to be involved in helping people to feel more secure with their money. Tens of thousands of people now taking control of their finances because of CAP Money courses, what they've learned and what they're learning. So CAP Job Clubs. More recently we launched CAP Job Clubs. They're a new way of churches taking on the problem of unemployment. It's an 8-week course basically, and people go through that, help with their confidence and so on and so forth. And we started those this year, and so there's 33 of those set up, looking to get 100 running by the end of 2013. Again, it's another opportunity for people to encounter the living Jesus. We really believe it's going to make a big difference. So come and talk to us at the end. We've got some stuff at the end there. There is There is a book, nevertheless. This is the incredible story of CAP from when John Kirkby started it back in 1996. There's about 130,000 of these have been distributed, and we've got some at the back there for you today. It's a free book. I have read it a couple of times, and it's absolutely incredible. It's very inspiring. I think each of you will absolutely love it. So do please come and get a copy of that at the end. We're going to pass around some little leaflets, the Plan A, but also a little ticket that just says put your name and address on it. That enable us then to keep you in touch with the work of CAP, but also give you some information for prayer. So we really believe that that's a great thing. So if you can start sending those around, Jenny, that'd be great. And just fill those in and bring them to us at the end, and we'll give you a book. If you've already read it, has anybody read this yet, or seen it, or read it? Probably you haven't you? Well, there's another book, and it's called The Journeys of Hope. So it's 12 stories of clients. Have you read that one? No, great. Well, you can get one of those, can't you? And how people's lives have changed. Do you know, this thing of changing lives is incredible. It really is fantastic. So I really do encourage you to fill in the form, get a copy, and what I say is, you have a card, but if you have got not one of these things filled in, you can't have one of these. So I need to keep in touch with where we send all these books. So no card, no book. Card, you have a book. Just as easy as that. Great, isn't it? Okay. So running just a bit more on CAP money, and then we'll. No, I think what we'll do. Yeah, can we just see the DVD? There's a short DVD which we released while you're doing that, Jenny. I'll get out of your way.
One day I got a payday loan to survive, which started a vicious circle that kept getting worse and worse. Me and Gemma were rowing and arguing about debt, and using drugs to try and forget about it. It was like living in a black hole.
One day, when the pressure of death just got all too much, I walked into the sea and wanted to end it all. I was in complete turmoil. When I slept, I was tormented, so I panicked and I just didn't want to face it.
One day I had to go and beg for a potato from one of my neighbours. I was so ashamed. When my mum passed away, I didn't know anything about running households or paying bills. I have severe dyslexia and couldn't understand the numbers and letters.
One day in June 1992, in this car park, for me, what a day. Overwhelmed by spiralling debt, knowing I was going to lose my home, I pulled in and I literally was overwhelmed. I was woken up about an hour later by my 8-year-old daughter Jasmine knocking on the window saying, "Daddy, are you okay?" After becoming a Christian and still in debt but full of faith, I started Christians Against Poverty, which has now grown into a national debt counselling ministry, reaching thousands through local churches. Working with our debt coaches, we visit some of the poorest people in our communities. We work with them, we set up budgets, and we do all this through the love of Jesus and the heart of the church to reach the poor. And it's this combination that changes thousands of people's lives.
When CAP came into our lives, it really gave us the power to become ourselves and take away the baggage that we had on our shoulders was really heavy. So we really have been set free. When Anna organised the discovery break through CAP for us, we didn't really know what to expect, and we did a session on forgiveness, which really stunk through to the bones, really. And for some reason, we sat behind, and when everybody left, and a couple of people there prayed for us. And then afterwards I went outside and had a moment with God on my own, and I just poured my heart out to him, and asked for forgiveness and asked him to take the pain and hurt away that I'd been through, and he just did, and I just felt an overriding peace in my heart.
The day that God intervened in my life and I knew that He really cared about me was the day that I was standing here in Carrickfergus Harbour, and I was I was in debt and just stressed and the pressure. I just didn't want to live, not even for the kids, and I felt like a failure towards them. But you know something, whenever I was standing in that sea, I can remember just a voice inside saying, get back up out of that sea and just go and look after your kids and everything will be okay. The next day I phoned Cap and I spoke to Jackie, but I felt kind of shouldn't be telling her some of the things because I felt really ashamed. But you know something, I poured my heart out to Jackie because she didn't judge me and I didn't feel ashamed. I just felt as if I could talk to her. She prayed with me, and that's when I became a Christian. I was so happy, and now I'm debt free. I'm a support worker, and 3 of my clients have become Christians and come to church with me every Sunday, and it's just amazing.
Oh, it's been amazing since I got in touch with Kat. Andrea came out to the house and did a short interview with me. The service was just so amazing and very personal as well. The first day I went to church was absolutely amazing. I went as a thank you to Andrea really, and I hated God at the time, had no interest in Him, but it was almost like coming home when I walked through the doors. They started praying for me at church. I started to get sensation and movement back in my legs, and I can now lift my legs and bend them. The doctors have all been totally baffled by it, but I know that it's God's plan. It's God that has done this for me so that I can inspire other people with my story.
One day can transform someone's life and eternity. Every working day, Christians Against Poverty reach 20 families. But we've got a vision to treble that to 60. But we can't do that without your support. Will you today do what you can do to support CAP? And together, let's go and make today count and change thousands of people's lives.
Quite an inspiring film that. Makes me weep every time I see it. But that's the transformation that we love to see. Just a bit more about the CAP Money course. Got a few minutes. Right. So it's 3 sessions. It's proven to have dramatic effects on the way people think about money, the way they organise their finances. Main thing, living within their means and getting money under control. If you've got internet access, the internet tool that you get with the course is absolutely amazing. You've got it for life. When your income changes, whether up or down, you just change that on the tool. It tells you how much in the red or in the black you are, and you can adjust accordingly your expenditure. So you can't change council tax, unfortunately, but you can change, how much you're spending on leisure, or the numbers of takeaways you have, or whatever is your thing. It helps you to do that. Even if you're on a very tight budget. I mean, lots of our clients are on, educational employment support allowance, and £71.70 a week is a lot. But having that tool helps them to look at, okay, what are the priorities? What are the things can I afford? So it's brilliant. We also, I don't know whether you're going to run this or not, but we also do have CAP Money available for university students, and there's also a session for 14 to 16-year-olds, which is actually amazing to help that sort of age group to get into the idea of having a balanced budget. So you're launching this CAP Money course today, and what I would say is Susan can't do it on her own. She needs a lot of support. On the evenings that she runs the course, she'll need people to help with coffee making and all that sort of thing, dip biscuits, whatever. She'll need people to welcome people at the door, and she'll need people to just be running around helping. So, although the course, isn't due to start till autumn, now's the time to say, Susan, I want to help you because I really think this is going to be great. It's a really good opportunity. If you're an outwardly going person as well, and you love sharing your faith, then talk to Susan because it's just great because there's opportunities in the course to be able to share with people as well. And so, go and talk to Susan. I think you're going to get help from Sandown as well, are you?
Oh no, we've got a member here who's going and helping with Sandown.
Brilliant.
And she's going to support me here as well.
Splendid, excellent. And then at some stage, as you sort of get into it, you might well find that you want to train some more some more money coaches, because there's all sorts of opportunities. In Chichester, we work with the local children's family and what's it called? The Family Centre Children's Nursery or whatever. Yeah, I can never remember what they are called. It's too complicated for my little brain. But yeah, so we go there and run courses, and we do that every term. And there's all sorts of organisations where you can then go in and work with them. So yeah, go for it. And just remember, you're going to be part of 3,500 Cap Money coaches around the country delivering this to. Well, we're looking at 20,000 people in 2013. So it is big, but go for it. It's really all about God's call for us to be faithful with money. So delegates are taken through the course and they can see that that's going to be worthwhile for them. It's going to give them peace for the future. So as I finish off, as I said at the beginning, give the opportunity to change lives. You can do that in so many different ways. So if you can fill in those bits of paper, that'd be great. Come get your book. That will enable us then to send you stuff about prayer. We don't bombard you with stuff, but just enough to keep you ticking along, knowing what we're doing, what our aims are. We want to more than double our Cap Money partner churches, and we also want to see the job clubs reaching 500 churches around the UK. So the sad thing is, when somebody phones that free phone number, they get hold of a leaflet, and then they're told, sorry, there's not a centre in your area. So somebody struggling with debt plucks up the courage to phone and then says, sorry, anyway. Thankfully through the Cap Money course, if somebody is in debt, then you can press a button and you'll get contact with Bradford and they can help you online sort out your debts. So that is fantastic as well. We receive no government funding, and we never have. The reason is we refuse to compromise on our values. Just like you, we believe we should be secure in God and delighted to share Jesus' love for people. That people should have the same opportunity to find Christ, be drawn into the local church, so we can be at the forefront of that social change. So we're really keen to do stuff, and I'm sure you are as well. We clearly want to see the same passion for God's work here, supporting people that are in poor and poverty situations, and just seeing them saved. So that poster at the back says, join 20,000 others who are united against poverty, become a life changer. What we call life changers are people that give a small amount or a large amount, however much they can afford, each month to the work of CAP. The idea is that these people are key in developing new centres around the country. So what we say is, please, if you can afford something, £1 a month, £3 a month, £12 a month, £1,200 a month, whatever is your thing, go for it. It's really important because 20,000 people supporting CAP. I don't know if you've heard of the Big Church Day Out. Was held in West Sussex at the end of May. We increased that to 21,000 in a weekend. 1,000 people giving to the work of CAP. So all you need to do, if you filled in that form, there's a little tick box. So you want to tick that box, and if you've got your bank details, you can put in how much you want to give, And if you've got your bank details, write that in as well. If not, then we'll contact you in the next couple of weeks and just arrange with you what you want to give. As I say, it doesn't matter how much. You know, if you can only afford £1 a month, then go for it. It all helps. The main thing is that you've got to get information so you can pray. So I'd like to thank you so much on behalf of people like you saw on the film, people I've described that we've worked with, for your generosity and your time. Thank you very much.